And we are live! Subjects of the Slug Kingdom, greetings. I am King Slug of the Slug Kingdom. No relation to that other one. And welcome to Clickfire, the Impronauts break the internet, in which us, definitely 100% medieval people, as you can see, will be showing you entertainment for the next hour in the form of improvised medieval comedy. But let myself not introduce myself any further and introduce my subjects of the kingdom, who will be telling you all their names, please.
I am the humble wheat gatherer, Jack. As you can see, I wield merely the most simple of instruments out here on the great fields of static. Truly a desolate place.
Thank you.
I am Dan, a humble sheep farmer, but not quite as humble as that other farmer, Jack. And, well, I don't know. I think things are looking up. I think I might move on to goat herding pretty soon here, so.
Sounds promising. Next up.
I am Paul, Baron of Humbleton, and funnily enough, the least humble of them all.
Irony. That's comedy. Next up.
I'm Helena, definitely not a witch, but if you don't laugh at the show, I will hex your sheep to be barren.
Be careful. Those sheep are important. You know who you are. Finally.
Hello, I'm Damien.
Cool. Brilliant. Damien, what a medieval name. Cool. So the idea of today is we're going to be doing some silly games with you all today. And I see that you already have started writing some wonderful, weird medieval inventions. And in fact, right away, the prompts we're going to ask for is going to change. Brilliant. What a great production we're doing here today. So for our first game, I'm going to need you guys to give us the names, some medieval knights, preferably some dumb names, so boobs a lot, that sort of thing, but better than that, because I know you're better than that. Yeah, so whilst you're writing these down, I'm going to explain the game. This is a game called Jousters, not to be confused with a similar game from the future called Wrestlers, in which our two jousters, who are Damien and Jack, are going to do a joust. They're going to talk rubbish at each other before their jousting match, but you're going to give them the names. Yes, they're not going to be Jack and Damien. They're going to be some weird names that you guys will have come up with. And whilst they're giving their speeches, everybody in the chat will need to vote on who you think was the best jousting speech. So to start us off, you are no longer Jack. You are... Gosh, there's quite a few really good ones in here. Let's have a look. Let's go with... You are Sir Better Than That. You are Sir Better Than That.
Ahoy!
Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, don't do this just yet. I need to tell you who your opponent is. Your opponent is... Sir, It's Only Banter. So, we have Sir Better Than That versus Sir, It's Only Banter. And, oh, I'm so sorry, Sir Glam didn't make it today. He was at home with some sort of lymph problem. Anyway, so, on to you, Sir Better Than That.
Ahoy! And you may wonder why I would do the same joke twice. And you will answer correctly. I made the mistakes so you learn from them. Because you're better than that. And when we go on our horses and we joust each other until the sun goes down, you will not lose because you're better than that. So if you lose this fight in a way, I, Sir Better Than That, would win because you are better than that. So the prophecy, it's a prophecy. It's a prophecy. So...
No, please finish.
Oh, no, it's all right. I know when to finish my speeches. You know better than me, because you're better than that.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging your King Slug. Anyway, let's get the riposte. Sir, It's Only Banter.
All right, calm down, mate. Look, it's all very well you coming over here telling me that you're better than that, and I'm better than that, and he's better than that, and other people are better than that. But what you've got to remember is, when it comes out into the jousting field, we'll find out who's better than that. And it's going to be me, because I'm going to put my spike right the way through your chest. But don't worry, it's only banter.
Beautiful, short but sweet. So, now it's down to you, my subjects of the court. I'm Oh, I'm so sorry. All of these knights who couldn't make it today are trying to invade our kingdom.
You know, they really had better things to do. They were really better than this, which isn't my name, but, you know, similar.
Hey, they're all trying to take it. The copycat knights are on their prowl tonight. But okay, who was the best jouster? Was it Sir Bansalot, or was it Sir Better Than That? Give us a quick vote in the comments now, and I will just pick one at random.
If this banterous chap wins, I will be the real winner because he's better than that. I have no way of losing.
Wow. Sounds like you've got quite a, well, fail-safe here. And yes, the things are coming through, and I think it's a very, very clear winner. It was Sir Bantalot. Congratulations, you've won the jousting match without even being in it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You know,
Dab.
I've done well, and I deserve it.
You did good. You were really better than me.
Yeah.
Well,
Privilege. I've earned it.
on to our next game. This will involve everybody else, so you get a chance to see everybody. This is another competition called Definitions, in which you guys are giving me some wonderful made-up words in the chat. No, quack is not a made-up word, unless you're not a duck. And what's going to happen is my three lovely improvisers here are going to provide a definition that you guys will then decide on as the best definition of the lot. So let's pick a cool word. I like this word, a flummyberg. A flummyberg, covering up Helena quite nicely there. So first of all, Dan, what is flummyberg?
So, as we all know, there are many different words that are used to classify places where a group of people live in medieval England. You know, you have your villages, your hamlets, your towns, a few cities. But sometimes you come across a settlement that's, you know, it's not a hamlet. Like, it's got a bit more going for it, but it's definitely not all the way to village. And the word you're looking for, the word that's on the tip of your tongue, is exactly flummyberg.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, next up, Paul, what to you is flummyberg?
Well, it's very simple. There's many different bergs in the world. There's an iceberg, there is a steamberg, there's waterberg, but a flummyberg is not made out of any form of that kind of water like an iceberg. Instead, it's made out of the water that shoots off of a flume ride. You know, those rides where you sit in a log and go down a water slide. So it's all dirty water mixed in with grease, and there's sweat from people from Florida's big people from Florida dripping into the water, and then there's some discarded kind of hats shaped like a goofy all in it, and it comes together, frozen, and becomes a flummyberg, which gets in the way of a lot of rides at Disneyland.
Oh my, I'm not even sure what half of those words were, but I'm sure they were all profound and correct. Now, finally, Helena, what is a flummyberg?
Paul's made the mistake of giving the modern day definition instead of the medieval times definition. He's quite right in the pronunciation, Flummyberg, and it being related to iceberg. But it's simply where the Vikings would have had fun. They weren't always pillaging, sailing off in long ships. Occasionally, on their way to Iceland, they would pass a lovely iceberg that looked just right for sliding on. Flummyberg.
Cool. Well, so vote in the chat now. Who gave the correct definition in your opinion? Because opinions are important. To Flummyberg. Was it Dan's, not, well, a bit bigger than a hamlet, but smaller than a village? Was it Paul's? Lots and lots of words I didn't understand, but a water slide full of gunk, or the gunk from a water slide? Or was it Helena's much more old interpretation of gunk? Before we go, whilst they're voting in the chat, Dan, can you use yours in a sentence, please?
Oh, yes. As I was walking through the meadow one day, I chanced upon a house and another, and then exactly 9 more. And I thought, a flummyberg before my eyes.
Lovely. Okay, Paul, put yours in a sentence for me.
Well, it was unfortunate that the Titanic hit a iceberg, but it could have been worse. If it hit a flummyberg, then the smell would have been quite bad.
Ooh, lovely. What about you, Helena? What's about Flummiberg? Let me.
Oh, hey there, Asbjorn. That piece of ice looks really slidey. Let's have a go on the Flummiberg before we pillage that town.
Beautiful. I just thought I'd bring you in so that you weren't smothered by the word itself. Wow, thank you for the votes for me. My definition was shit. I don't know what you're talking about. But I think looking at all of these, it seems like our winner today is Paul. Your modern interpretation of the Flummiberg appears to have captured the hearts of our loyal subjects of the kingdom. Well done indeed. So, if only there was a quick way of getting rid of this comment. There it is. So, for the next game, I've been asking you guys to give us some old-timey jobs. This is a game called Director's Cut that's completely made up, but aren't they all really, if you think about it? Damien's going to give us a wonderful speech about your subject. Monologue, 30 seconds max. We're not going to count it, but it's there. And then what we're going to do is, whilst Damien is giving this speech, I want you guys to flood the comments with different emotions for Jack's going to repeat that monologue with a mild emotional tweak. So let's find, Damien, let's find you a job. I saw some pretty good ones here. Let's have a look here. Tell you what, you're going to be a dragon feeder, the feeder of dragons, Damien. So you're the feeder of dragons. And in the comments below, everybody give us some emotions. Emotions.
They've kept me at this castle for 14 years, since I was I was going to say a wee lad, but I'm quite considerably older than that now, I suppose, since I was a moderately old teenager. And they want me to feed the dragons. Trouble is, dragons don't take too kindly to young people, small people like me. They're big, them dragons, and scaly, they've got mouths, they bite. They give me a stick to hold the food on. Sometimes he bites the stick, whips it out of my hands. I have to run out of the building. I tell you, one day, I hope they invent some machine for feeding dragons, or invents there to be a way for no more dragons.
Wonderful. Now, Jack. Oh, Jack's changed. He looks silly now. But okay, Jack.
I always look silly, yeah.
You're going to do that same thing. You are still the dragon feeder speech that Damien was doing before, but this time you have a strange desire to dance.
Oh God! Okay, yep. Feeding time. Yep. All right. It's quite difficult being a dragon tamer. I've been there. Yeah, there you go. I've been one since I was a little kid. I mean, I'm not a little kid anymore. But you know, I'm quite old, as you can see here. This dragon has been growing up with me. In just there we go. I've shown all of my dance moves to this guy. You know, I've shown all of my dance moves. You know, I've done the foxtrot, except you know it's a dragon trot, so the dragon's just. There's the mambo, except it's the dragon mambo. So again, it's just a feeding a dragon. And then there's my favorite is the Viennese waltz, where what happens is that you go to Vienna and then you fight a dragon. I wish they invent like a stick that not only you could feed a dragon with, but also could be a good cane for like a tap dance. Because I think that's the way forward with dragon feeding, in my opinion. It's just a little music.
Beautiful. I mean, really changed that. I mean, that was verbatim the same monologue, I'm sure. But yes, what a wonderful addition from Jack. And thank you very much, Damien and Jack. You will all be pardoned for 4 minutes in my kingdom. Well, on to the next game. So the next game we're going to have, not Paul, sorry, Helena and Dan, in which we're going to need from you guys a weird crime. A weird crime. So the idea of this game is we have brought in the most notorious criminal in the medieval times, Mr. Bob Conker. And Mr. Bob Conker has done a crime that Helena is going to be the prosecution for in a court. And Dan is still on the same side. Dan is going to be the defense of Bob Conker in this court. And you, people at home, the slugs at home, you're going to be our jury. You're going to decide whether Bob Conker is guilty or not. But we need a We need a crime, and let's have a look through the crimes here. Aha! I think here, Bob Conker's crime. He has contaminated a haystack. What has he contaminated that haystack with? Something heinous, I'm sure. So, onto the prosecution in this court, and you're going to provide us with the means, the motive, and the opportunity by which Bob Conker could have done this. Proceed.
Your Majesty, I put it to you that Bob Conker has committed the most heinous crime of haystack contamination. Now, does he have the means to contaminate a haystack? I ask you, who does not have the means to contaminate a haystack? Literally anything other than hay is the means to contaminate a haystack. What we need to know is his motive. Well, in fact, it was not even his own haystack he contaminated, but that of his neighbouring hay farmer, who he wished to discredit. He wanted to discredit his neighbouring hay farmer, John Bonker, so that he could take on John Bonker's fields and hay buyers for himself. He believed if he contaminated that haystack badly enough, which I may add he did by using straw, then those hay buyers would have no choice but to come and buy the hay from his farm. The opportunity? Bob Conker has some straw fields in his own farm. All he needed to do was sneak across the fence and cram handfuls of straw into John Bonker's haystacks, which, I put it to you, is exactly what he did. He is a swine and a villain, and he has a lisp.
Interesting thing to add at the end there, but I'm sure it's relevant. Okay, on to the defense. Why didn't Bob Conker contaminate these haystacks?
Well, Your Grace, Bob Conker may be a competitive man, and a savvy businessman at that, but he's also an honest man. He believes that whoever shall be the victor between him and his friendly competitor, John Bonker, it should be whoever is giving the best product to the public. Now, I believe that, as the prosecution was listing out some of Bob's more irrelevant personal shortcomings, shall we say, she tactfully left off his crippling fear of fences and all other forms of enclosure. Now, why is this relevant? Well, it should be obvious that the two men's property is separated with a wooden fence. How then should a man with such debilitating conditions as Bob's make it across into John's field, I ask? So far, no explanation has been satisfactory to my ears, Your Majesty.
Well, what an interesting idea, and fancily enough, we have actually got Bob Conker himself here at the court, which obviously, I mean, it's his crime. But Bob, is there anything you'd like to say in your defense before I get the jury to make their decision?
I would never go into my neighbour's field and tamper with his haystack. If people want to buy their hay from John Bonker, they should do so, regardless of how contaminated it may be with bits of straw. And if they want to buy straw-free hay from me, from my own very nice haystacks, like these, look at that, look at the quality of that, look at that.
Wow.
You could make a hat out of that if you wanted, and then they'd be welcome to come down. Number 37 on the side of the field, and I'm open from like 7 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. If you just come and knock on my door, because it's only flimsy, I'll hear you, no problem.
Wow, I'm not sure, but it's not down to me.
Your Majesty.
Yeah, sorry, you have
Majesty,
something to say.
I put it to you that was an imposter, because as we all know, Bob Conker speaks with a lisp.
Yes, it's right! He's dressing up as me! And I'm the real Bob Conker, and I did contaminate those haystacks.
Wow, interesting evidence here. So, is he guilty or not, jury? Maybe it's down to you to decide. Whilst we're doing it, we've got some lovely comments from the audience. This comes from an indie villain in West Wessex, Wessexshire, who says, "Nice satirical reference to the Enclosure Act." Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. I'm sure it was that. We've got another one, Joanna Slater from Definitely Not My Mumland, who says that Bob looks a lot like Hugh Laurie, which I think is very true. Or at least the imposter did. This one looks a bit more like Stephen Fry. So, was Bob Conker innocent or guilty? Well, we're getting the answers through right now. And it actually looks like, despite what everyone might have guessed, he's innocent. Bob Conker, you have been let off. You will not have to spend the next 4 weeks in a haystack contaminating it with your own substances. You can float freely off to your own farm.
Thank you very much.
So, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Wasn't expecting that. Sorry, prosecution, but jury is jury. That's democracy, hey? So, well, next game. So, the next game, I've asked you guys for some poem names. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give Bob Conker a bit of a relaxing time to go and sit in his house for a bit. And this time, we're going to have a bard off. In this bard off, we have two bards. We just happen to have two heads. We have bard number 1, Helena Dan, and we have bard number 2, Paul Jack. Jack Paul. Sounds like a Beatle. I don't know what that means. But we've been asking for you for some lovely poems. They're going to do a poem each, and then you're going to decide at home, Sluglings, whether whose poem did the best poem. English is different in the old days. I'm sure you'll understand. So, let's have a lovely poem for Helena Dan, the poet, to do. Well, I assume this is a poem. Slugs, 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 2. We all really enjoyed your Slugs, Slugs, Slugs poem, and we've heard you've made a sequel, and we're here to listen to it today. So, Helena Dan, the poet, Slugs, 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 2.
As I was wandering through the fields of lettuces, I spied
A slug, another slug. Between my legs it tried to slither down the garden patch to eat another leaf.
but I trod upon those slugs, and then I turned to grief. So guilty did I feel for ending those slugs' lives.
I thought about their babies, their husbands, and their wives. But when day is done and night has come and slugs are put to rest,
I realize that my lettuces are what I care for best.
Beautiful, beautiful poem there. Well, let's see how the opponents, with their new poem that I've just seen, they've written to me right now, is... Oh, that one's a bit... No, not that one. Oh, gosh, where have they gone? I had it, and now I've lost it. I'm very sorry.
You've lost our poem?
I lost the name of your poem. No, sorry.
Child.
I've got it here. It was on my little ye oldie post-it note. Here it is. It is Ye Oldie Brothel O. Ye Oldie Brothel O.
Ye oldie brothel, oh my dear, how have I met thee often?
You have such charm, you have such grace, but your whores are fit for a coffin. They are grey of hair and wrinkly, and very, very slow.
I have to tie one up to even let it go or go. My Yelp review of Brothel O is 3 out of 10-ish.
It would be the finest of place. Oh, but were it for the dish of fish. Oh, the whores, they are so lovely charming, but the food leaves much to be desired.
I often go to the canteen while I'm horny. It's hardwired. But ultimately, ye oldie brothel, oh, I still love thee.
I go there every weekday and get my bit of glee.
Wonderful, wonderful, and very clean. Definitely very clean. So, vote down in the comments now. Who did the best poem? Was it Helena Dan with their Slugs sequel, or was it Jack and Paul with their little trip down the local brothel? So, Vote now. First person to put something in is going to get the right answer because life's too short. How did you feel? How did you feel about debuting your first ever live poem, Helena?
Sluggy. It was pretty slimy.
Pretty slimy. I'd agree with that. Yeah, Dan, is that something you felt?
It was, yeah, and highly nutritious.
Fair enough. Gosh, I think I should. It was a bit of a. I'm so sorry, Jack Paul, but it was a bit of a biased one to start with because, of course, we live in the kingdom of Slug, and so of course the long-awaited sequel to Slugs was going to win, and it has. Slugs 2 has taken the biscuit, the Slug biscuit, available now. So, whilst we wait on for the next game, I'm just going to go through a couple of our sponsors because obviously we can't fund our own streaming service. We're medieval. Money's, £5 went a long way when we were alive, which is now. But don't worry about that, because we are being sponsored today. Yes, we are. And so, have you ever been in a situation where you don't have enough food in the house and you need to get some more, but very, very fast? And I mean fast in all senses of the word. You need a catapult food delivery service. Yes, a catapult food delivery service to thrust the food through yonder window and provide you with the nutrients you need. In fact, we've got a testimony here from a client who was incredibly happy to receive their food delivery service catapult.
Oh, the food delivery catapult service has saved my bacon on many, many times, and literally in many ways. Oh, I can't tell you the amount of times when we'd be pouring oil over on some tough invaders, but then we'd think, oh God, if only we had a few chips to throw into this oil. God. And catapult food delivery service solved that problem in an instant. So now I can tuck into a lovely bit of French fries while we're frying the French.
Who doesn't like frying the French? The ultimate enemies of the slugs because they hurt our friends, the escargots. But anyway, don't take my word for all of this. We have a sciencey bloke here who's going to tell us the science behind the catapult food delivery service.
That's right. What we do is we build world-class, which means like as far as Norfolk probably, catapults out of wood and bits of string. And look, here's one now. What you do is you just bring this down like that, and all of the tension in the string that is caused by little tiny demons that pull together like this, you see, I think. And then you do that, and you put the bacon into the catapult or the chips, and you just let go, boom, and they fly across the sky like one of them birds.
Wow, I don't know what those birds either. You're the scientist, but I appreciate it anyway. So go down to your local ye olde Woolworthy, and you will find yourselves a catapult food delivery service. Trying to think of a pun to do with Deliveroo, but it's not coming to me. Thank you. There we go. So, that's our sponsor for today. We're going to get paid now, which is nice. Right, so on to the next game. Now, I've got very exciting news for you all. My kingdom has borne me a beautiful son indeed. And his name is usually Paul, but he's not quite Paul today. I'm asking you for some famous people in the chat. And I would ask Paul and his potential date, Dan, not to look into the comments right now, because we're going to play a game called Blind Date, or Blind Arranged Marriage, in which Paul and Dan are going to go on an arranged marriage date. But the key thing is, they don't know who each other are, and they're going to have to use leaded questions to try and figure out each other's names. So, first things first, Dan, can I ask you to disconnect from the audio? You cannot hear us anymore. I'm going to assume he cannot hear us anymore. Right. What can Paul's name? Who can Paul really be? Aha! A beautiful one. And one I hope will get answered very easily. You are going to be, Paul, you're going to be Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth. Okay, so Lady Macbeth. And take your earphones out. And we're going to bring Dan back in with some waves. Yes, come in. Come back in. Okay, Paul cannot no longer hear us. Dan, you can now hear us. I'm going to give you. God, okay, we get another person who Dan can be on a date. Who Dan can be the date for my son. That was a good sentence. Oh, okay. Let's have a look here. I quite like. You can be the queen, Dan. You are the queen. I assume that's the current queen. But I don't know what that means, because I'm the current king. So you are the queen. So they don't know who the other person is. Let's bring in my son, and we'll let them go on a date. Yes, come. Yes, come. Welcome back, my dear son. And please, this is who I intend you to marry. Whom? Sorry.
Oh, hello there. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm great. Pleasure to meet you. I'm bloody exhausted. I'm sorry. I haven't been sleeping well. Yeah. Pleasure to meet you. Please tell me about yourself.
Oh, well, this wouldn't be my first marriage, mind you, but, well, I just thought, I'm getting a bit on in my years, and, why not? Why not get back out there and try something new, am I right?
I know how you feel. My first husband was a bit of a conniving snake, to be honest. Also, the accent really got on my nerves. Just sorry, before I'm going to eat, I'm just going to wash my hands. I hope you don't mind.
No.
I can never get these bloody things clean.
So, you said you haven't been sleeping well?
Oh, no, I'm just bloody exhausted. I've been told I've been sleepwalking lately and getting up to all kinds of mischief. It's really... I just wake up in the morning and I feel like I haven't slept at all, I'm just wandering around and my hands are really red raw. It's horrible. Oh, enough about me though. Tell me, so what do you do?
Oh, well, I mean, formally, not that much these days, but, well, I don't mean to brag, but I've got my image all over the kingdom. Quite well renowned, you might say. And, well, I provide reassurance to the people of this fine country when they are feeling faint of heart.
I know, about providing support when people are feeling faint of heart. My old husband, he was a little wimp, okay? Always needed a pushing outside the door, but he got there in the end. But anyway, yeah, I totally know how you feel. So, tell me, you seem quite sweet. You're so polite, but I imagine there's a bit more of an edge to you. You look like a bit of a flower, but I imagine you're a bit more like a snake underneath all that. Tell me.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but, well, I was involved in one of the great wars our kingdom had quite a while ago, I must say. But, well, now that the kingdom is commemorating it, I thought, well, put that old past behind me and, give the people a bit of a rousing speech and commemorate those old days from my wilder youth.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I remember. God, last time there was a war where I'm from, I didn't really get involved. But yeah, it's good that you're doing some good. I think I'm ready for the bill, but of course,
Oh, yes, I am as well.
Ah, wonderful. I always love it when my
or
son...
rather the marriage agreement, I should say.
Yes, the marriage agreement. I've got the marriage agreement right here. I just want to say I love it when my son does his robot impressions. Very, very, very funny, but I'm glad you stopped doing it now. So in this country, I don't know if you know this, Mum, but we actually sign the other person's marriage certificate part. So if you could sign for my son, if you know what their name is.
Yes, I believe it is the estimable Saint Patrick.
It's not quite St. Patrick. Don't get confused by the accent.
No, I was confused by the snakes and the accent in tandem.
Well, Maps, I don't know if there's anything. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I've been taking elocution lessons, but usually I talk a bit more like this.
Yes.
I'm afraid I'm not quite as well versed in the old popular culture.
It's okay. I'm sure when you're older, you can move up to Scotland and do some Scottish plays out in the fields together.
Oh, and might I see Lord Macbeth there?
Without a penis, indeed.
The Lady Macbeth.
Ah!
Sorry.
Wonderful. I'll just get that down. That was wonderful. And then, sorry, lady, if you could sign this with their name.
Yes, Elizabeth II.
Correct indeed. In fact, I'll need to get a signature for you on a £10 note I have locked away in my future vault. But yes, I think this will be a very prosperous marriage, and I hope it ends better than your first one, Lady Macbeth, who's apparently my son. Wonderful. Okay, let's bring everybody back in, because now we're going to play a game which is called Quickfire Monologues. I am going to be giving the weird prompts that you guys have been wonderfully filling the chat with on my right here, with prompts for us improvisers to do a little speech for, and then maybe at the end we'll give an Oscar, whatever that is, to the person who gave the best of the monologues. So we're going to start. I'm going to go top to bottom. And Dan, your first prompt is you are going to be. Gosh, just having a look through here. Here you go. You're a witchfinder general doing kids' parties.
All right, then. On you go. Yes, the cake's right over there. The cake's... Yeah, so just pour the punch into the glass and drink up. Is it yummy? Or does it taste like blood? Oh, it's yummy. Oh, well, on you go then. Oh, back you come. Woo.
Wonderful. Very convincing run-off at the end there. Paul, you are no longer Paul, but you're Merlin's apprentice who is slowly turning into an ass.
Okay, big boy Merlin. All right. Tongue of newt and toe of frog. Got them both here. Wait, maybe that's the tongue of... Sorry, sore throat. No, it's coming up, Merlin. I've got it right. How about we leave the potion and I just do my Eddie Murphy impression instead?
Beautiful. Eddie Murphy being the best bard in all of Slugland. He is a very good slug. Don't know. Anyway, Jack, you are no longer Jack. You are you're a frog who hates eating flies and swimming.
You know, I get my exercise in different ways. You know, I just think you should be able to do whatever you want. Okay, look, I've seen some of the I know you shouldn't call them that, but the fat frogs, the fatties that eat flies all day, and I'm just saying that lifestyle's not for me. I prefer, crops, peas. I think it's just more healthy for my figure, personally. And swimming doesn't get an ounce off you. Terry down the road, all he does is swim all day. What happened to him yesterday is he gets eaten by a bird. A bird! That's not what frogs are meant to get eaten by. I just spend a couple of hours every day going for a bit of a jog. People keep, thinking I'm witchcraft because frogs aren't meant to jog. At least 3 princesses have tried to kiss me, and I'm just like, whoa, whoa, back up. There's a little word about, I've got to say, there's a little word there. It's a bit of an odd lifestyle, but I think it's working out.
Wonderful. Very convincing frog there. Lovely. Helena, you are no longer Helena. I had one for you. Let me just grab it again. Yes, you're a king who's gone backstage and accidentally left his microphone on.
Oh, thank God. God, I hate having to talk to those bloody plebes. Jesus. Oh, I need a piss. Will you hold this? No, point it a bit further. Point it down. Oh. God, these cloaks are itchy. What? Shit. Did they hear me call them plebes? Oh, God. Everyone knows someone else holds the king's dick when he pees. I'm not worried about that. I'll just go back out there and pretend it was all a joke. Just go out there and pretend it was a joke. Be fine.
It's true, they do hold it. Damien, you're now next, and you are going to be the builder of a cheese house.
Oh, I've dreamt of this my whole life. I've always liked cheese, curds, whey, milk, cream as well, everything dairy, basically. But until now, I've been living in a house made of wattle and what I like to call daub. But now, behold its magnificence. I'm going to live in there, and I'm going to look out through the little round cheese holes and call them portholes and pretend I'm at sea.
Oh, lovingly adorable, hidden by the comment itself. Well done. So, we actually have an Oscar here. An old school Oscar. Le Oscar, that's French. Well, and it's going to be given out to one of our very special improvisers here, and it is up to you, the audience, to decide who gets the old-time Oscar. Was it Dan with his witch hunter at the kids' party? Was it Paul, Merlin's donkey apprentice? Was it Jack's frog, who was frankly sick of it? Was it Helena's king, who didn't like the plebes? Or was it Damien's little cheese man in his house? Who won that? Who won the Oscar? Give us your votes now. I've got the votes coming through. Oh my goodness, we're getting it's very even. I think everybody's got a couple of votes each. But the one I'm getting, hang on a minute, that's one person voting multiple times. We've never thought of this in a vote system before. Hang on a minute.
What are you going to do now?
I think that means
keep them coming. That's right. It's me, Frog Boy.
In fact, I believe it doesn't say Frog Boy here. I think Eleanor wins the Oscar for her very convincing of the alternative version of the King's speech that we all secretly wanted to see, just so that we could see Colin Firth's penis. Thank you, Helena. Do you have any victory things to say?
Thank you. I deserved it.
Beautiful. And Jack, the Russian embassy are in contact. So, for the next game, we have a very special interview to show you all. We have got ourselves Jack, who will be interviewing Helena. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but fortunately for some of us, Helena is a nun vowed to silence, who does a strange form of mime to get her point across. But thankfully, we've got Damien, who can also understand that mime and will be interpreting what she is saying for the rest of us plebes, as she puts it, who cannot speak the language. So I've been asking in the chat for some weird nun expertise that Helena is being interviewed for. And we've got a couple here now. I'm just scrolling past all of the same person writing the word Jack. And here we go. You're a bomb disposal expert. You're a nun bomb disposal expert. Please, go ahead.
Hello and welcome back to Kill, 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 your favourite medieval themed, because we live in the medieval times, show. I'm Sir Ties-a-Lot, and you know what they say, what ties a story, dies a story. And we're here to look at the latest forms of killing, maiming, and maiming. And our first guest on tonight's fantastic show is this amazing nun. So tell me, what is your name and what is your profession?
Well, I'm vowed to silence, but I'm Sister Necktie, and I like to pray. That's basically it. I'm a nun. I pray. I do a little bit of looking after the bomb. That's the main thing. While I'm a nun, I don't like it to go off, so I like to weed a little stick into there, cut the bits of string and whatever else might make it explode, open it up carefully, be very careful, and sometimes, of course, it goes terribly wrong when you have to run away very, very fast.
Incredible. Boy, I bet that job is a blast. But the question is that what situations have you used these skills in? Did you, for example, foil my attempt to blow up the King's Castle and establish a Catholic rule of England? Was that you?
Yes, that was me. Yes, it's not really appropriate for you to be doing that.
That was you. Incredible. And tell me, you are also. Huh? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over my arrogance. What did he say? No? Okay. Listen.
I'm terribly sorry. It appears that God has placed a strange delay in me hearing your speech. I can see you moving, and then it's as if demons deliver the sound a short time later.
Yes. So anyway, we're heading straight back in. So you foiled my plans to establish a Catholic rule over England, and now you can see that this entire interview is cursed with a strange sound-defying curse, if you will. Do you have any problems with your auditory flaps? We haven't come up with a word for it yet.
No. They work absolutely fine. I can hear the buglers and the singers and indeed the choirs of angels sing directly into my head.
All right. Well, we've got a visitor question through here on this slate, and it says that we've heard your famous song about bombs and disposing of said bombs. So would you like for the audience to really give a performance of it? And I'm sure it will really blow up. Honk, 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 honk.
When I count to 3 and I see a bomb, I see it fizzle and I think I should run. But no, I stop and I blow, and then I cut the strings until the bomb has gone.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And that song was really the bomb. Honk, honk. It really blew me away. Honk, honk. I guess you could say it was themed around explosives.
I have mixed opinions about your personality.
That's up for debate. I'll see you in court. Next time, we're going to have a look at an amazing nun who can juggle 3 cats, but not in the way you expect. Tune in next time to Kill!
Get lost. I've had enough of you. You're wasting my time.
Well, you're not going to see the paycheck then with that attitude.
I mean, that classic interview was conducted many, many years ago, but still really holds true with everybody today. Brilliant. So, next we're going to try something a little ambitious. We're going to give Damien another well-deserved rest after that performance, and we're going to have Jack, Eleanor, Dan, and Paul are going to be presenters on an old version of Blue Peter called Blue Peter, in which they're going to be making a lovely object for the children. But the problem is, their arms are not their own, so to speak. A classic arm through game from the real world, but this time we're going to do it through your screens. So I've been asking you guys for some strange objects and medieval objects that they could be making on Blue Peter, and I think I found one that I thought could work. This one just seems interesting to me. A flip-flop made of medieval energy. A medieval energy flip-flop. So please, proceed.
Hello, and welcome to Upside Down Land. Oh, God. Okay, thank goodness. You know, you just
Apologies
sometimes you
for
just feel
those.
like you're in the wrong body. Anyway, I'm your first host of this, the bluest of Peters. I am Thrypan de Bergerac.
Thank you, Fly de Bergerac, and I am host Sir Keith the Beige.
Keith the Beige, I've worked with you for years, but you are still completely intolerable. This lesson, we're going to look at how to make a flip-flop out of pure medieval energy. It's so mysterious, I'm going to now tap the side of my head.
Great work there, Bergerac. Okay, so what we're going to do is now to make your flip-flop, first of all, you need to gather some medieval energy. So what do we do to do this? First of all, we're going to have to be at peace. Think very deeply about mud,
I think about
buboes,
mud non-stop.
rats, problematic attitudes towards women, and then you should have a lot of that energy pent up inside you.
Non-stop. And once you've got that all there, you then have to stick your hand against your head and try and manifest a flip-flop on the table. Here we go. There we go.
Think of tapestries, helmets, itchy woolen clothes.
How was it for you, dear?
Oh, I feel relieved. Now, okay, so now we have the base of our flip-flop made of medieval energy. Now we need to make the thong, which goes between the toes. So, first thing you need to do is what color you want it, because this is going to inform the shape of you need. So I'm going to go for beige.
I mean, that seems appropriate. I don't have a good. I've lost my color vision back in the Third Crusade, so I don't really have a good grip on this part. So what I do is I just find a smear somewhere and kind of wipe the flip flop on the smear. I sift it out. I have a look at it. Oh, yep, there it is. Wipe it in there.
Give it a good wipe.
Wipe it on. Wipe it in there. Oh, I love flip flops so bloody much.
Indeed, you do. All right. Yeah, it's a good idea to get a bit of grip at the bottom, wipe it along a rough surface, such as a mace or a villager who has the plague. You get the sores of his back and give it a good old wipe across it, and then you'll have a sticky, textured bottom to the bottom that really gives you good grip while out walking.
Yes, it gives it a unique, all the slime gives extra grip, all that plague slime.
And all you need to do now that you have the flip-flop is do all of that over again for the left foot and floppies.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to being able to head out onto the beach looking absolutely fantastic. It just makes me so happy. I just have to dance.
Oh, look at him go. Oh, you're the real Lord of the Dance, Bergerac.
Flip flop.
This has been Sir Peter the Blue. Thank you and happy evening.
Ooh, yeah.
Sorry to break up your head there, but there it was. The overly ambitious arms throw. I hope you all had fun with that. I'm thinking it's almost time for us to leave you all. But before we do, there is always one game that the Clickfire people, want to finish on. And I've been asking you guys for some medieval nouns, and you guys have given some wonderful medieval nouns. I will just let this game speak for itself. The first noun you guys will have, a pretty straightforward one. Dungeon.
Sex with me is like a dungeon, damp and dark.
Sex with me is like a dungeon. It's better in the basement.
Sex with me is like a dungeon, a pretty blatant human rights violation.
Sex with me is like a dungeon. There's a lot of dripping liquid. You're not sure where it's coming from.
Moving lovely on from that. Stocks.
Kinky.
Sex with me is like stocks. There are 3 holes.
How do you breathe? No word question.
Sex with me is like the stocks. Lots of villagers standing around and laughing.
Sex with me is like stocks. You lose feeling in your hands after a while.
Sex with me is like the stocks. Historians agree it didn't really happen as much as we think it did.
Sex with me is like the stocks. Involves rotting fruit. Cool, okay. Let's go for another one. Crusader.
I don't know.
Sex with me is like a crusader. There tends to be a sack in Constantinople.
Sex with me is like a crusader. It consists of many long, pointless journeys across Europe.
Sex with me is like a crusader. God wills it.
Sex with me is like a crusader. When you return to your village after doing it, you're touted as a hero.
Sex with me is like a crusader. It's night time.
Puns. Too many puns. The pun has made the word change. Harpsichord.
Sex with me is like a harpsichord. On the inside, it's highly strung.
Sex with me is like a harpsichord. The fingering is very important.
Sex with me is like a harpsichord. Quite a novelty nowadays.
New word.
Okay, new word. Oh,
Sex with me is like a harpsichord. Noisy and annoying.
okay, penultimate one. Let's go with the Magna Carta. I'm getting old school, kids.
Sex with me is like the Magna Carta, the result of King John making a begrudging compromise on his part.
Sex with me is like the Magna Carta. It happened once at 12:15.
Okay, cool. And the final word. I'm picking between 2 here. Now I've got to go with the one that's relevant to the theme. Sex with me is like a peasant.
Sex with me is like a peasant. Disgusting.
Sex with me is like a peasant. Undervalued.
Sex with me is like a peasant. The king talks about it when he's got his dick out.
Beautiful callback. Okay. I think with that we will close the show. Thank you very much, everybody, for taking part and giving us all these wonderful things. If you want a couple more sex with me, as I've noticed people in the comments are writing some as well. And I love it when people get involved. So just to finish on this wonderful comment here, I wish I loved anything as much as he loves making flip-flops. I think that's the show demonstrate true passion today. I don't know what has, so much so that I lost my grandeur accent slightly. But I'd just like to say thank you very much, everybody, for watching the Cambridge Impronauts. And I would, before everybody says goodbye, I'm going to say, if you'd like to see more of this, please, in a couple of weeks' time, in fact, maybe a couple more than a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be doing another one of these shows, another episode of Clickfire. Please do come and join in that. In the meantime, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. look for the Cambridge Impronauts, or sometimes just at the Impronauts on Twitter, and you will find us. And you can find much more content. And some people are either better than us or worse than us according to your subjective opinion, because we don't want to give people's words in their mouths here. But for now, I'm going to let everybody say goodbye. Go say goodbye, everybody on my left.
Goodbye.
Bye.
And also, Damien.
Well.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.